The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Mark.
Glory to you, O Lord.
In his teaching, Jesus said, "Beware of the scribes who like to walk about in long robes, to be greeted obsequiously in the market squares, to take the front seats in the synagogues and the places of honor at banquets. These are the men who swallow the property of widows while making a show of lengthy prayers. The more severe will be the sentence they receive." He sat down opposite the treasury and watched the people putting money into the treasury. And many of the rich put in a great deal. A poor widow came and put in 2 small coins, the equivalent of a penny. Then he called his disciples and said to them, "I tell you solemnly, this poor widow has put more in than all who have contributed to the treasury. For they have all put in money they had over, but she from the little she had has put in everything she possessed, all she had to live on." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
Leo Tolstoy, the great writer, he was walking on the road of Russia during the time of famine. He had a generous heart, always used to give something, so whenever he came across anybody who is needy. As he was walking, he saw a beggar on the road, so asking for something. He started looking for something in his pockets, and then he searched, he found nothing. Then he went close to the beggar, so held him in his arms and then kissed him, and he said, "My brother, do not get angry, so I have nothing to give you." Immediately the beggar's face started lighting up, and then tears came down, and he said, "Oh, I am so joyful. Even though you have not given me in kind, but then you have given me the most, the best. So you embraced me, you kissed me, and you called me brother. That is more than enough. You have given yourself. That is the greatest gift I ever got. The greatest thing that I got in my life." Sometimes we think the little things that we give, so whether they are important or not. Certainly, it depends how we give. In the first reading we saw the situation, so if I take back little more than what we read today, the Ahaz, during the time of King Ahaz, so he was, because of his wicked wife Jezebel, so there were a lot of crimes, and God punished. There was famine for 3.5 years, no rain at all. During that time, so people were struggling for food. And then Elijah was prophesying during that time to turn them back. All people turn them back to God. And that is the situation, so where people were struggling for food, and Elijah is prophesying against them, and king wanted to kill him. And he ran away. And that is where starts the first reading today. He goes to Sidon. So it is supposed to be a pagan country, pagan world. So they thought it is unbelievers. They don't believe in God. So you see how God uses the situation in order to teach the right things, the word of God. So how is put very strongly in people. So now Elijah is made to run away from that Ahaz, and then he goes to this pagan, so-called the pagan place, unbelievers, to the people of those who don't have faith. It's like they considered, the Jewish people considered them, so we find during the time of Jesus also, though Jesus said in a joking way, but they were considered dogs, so low they were considered. And that was the situation. And the Elijah was sent to those people, and then he meets this woman, widow. She has nothing. She has nothing. As we hear in the reading, so she had very little flour in order to make little bread for herself and for her son, and then little oil. So that's all she had. And Elijah tells, give me little bread, little bread. And she had nothing. She expresses her desire. So I have only this much, very little. I want to eat for myself and for my son, and then we die. We have nothing after that. We want to die after that. And that is the situation. Absolutely nothing. What decision we will take? Can we give something that is left, last drop or last thing that is left to us, and then are we ready to give to somebody? That woman had trust. The God's man, so she sees something different in this man, Elijah as a prophet, but then she doesn't know this person. So she was believed to be non-believer, pagan, no trust, no faith, but we see the trust that she had. As soon as he says, do not be afraid, go and do as you wish, but then get for me first, after for you, and you will have for you. And then the word of God comes. So jar will not get empty, and the flour will not be emptied, so forever. For till the famine lasts. So this is what happened. The generosity comes from her because she had trust in God's providence. Though they were believed to be non-believers, but she had that belief, trust so strongly that God can provide. And finally she gets. In the gospel, the similar things continues. So we see Jesus moving around the same places. And these widows were not, again, they were not treated well, not respected. Just like in the Old Testament, so also during the time of Jesus. So they were not treated well. In the first paragraph in the gospel we saw, so how they were treated very badly. So all whatever they had, so they were taking up, eating up. So that is why Jesus is criticizing. And meanwhile this widow comes and puts little she had, whatever she had. That is what the gospel is telling at the end. Whatever she had, whole thing on which she could have lived, so everything she puts. So that's all. The trust. Important things we need to learn today. The lesson from this, the first thing is the generosity. From where it comes? Because she had faith and trust in God, in divine providence. That generosity came because she had trust in God. She had trust in divine providence. God will take care. So today's psalm clearly tells how he takes care of the widows and thwarts the path of the wicked. So wicked ones, so they will be thrown away. But the widows, poor, marginalized, they will be taken care, protected by God. And that is the protection we see throughout in the readings today. How he has protected, in the first reading, the widow, and also in the gospel, how Jesus praises the widow, the little things that she had given. Generosity comes because she had faith and trust. The second lesson that we want to learn is the sacrifice. The sacrifice. So it's from inside it has to come. What we give is not very important. How we give is more important. How we give. Maybe sometimes we have nothing to give. So as I gave you example in the beginning, Leo Tolstoy, he had nothing to give. But then what he could give, so that he gave. And that is the best gift you can give. In some time, so we have nothing to give, in our pockets may be empty. But then still we have a smile. We have a word. We have little time for one another to share their joys and sorrows. Maybe in order to give appreciation, one word. So these all things matter. And certainly God comes to us in order to give us protection, to give us that trust so that we can always rely on the divine providence. So these moments of scarcity are always a moment of tests in our life. They test. It's a great test. So we have gone through, maybe many of us might have gone through the moments of scarcity, different ways. It's not just we are talking about money or material or possession, but then scarcity in different ways. So whatever it may be, even in our case, maybe certain misunderstanding, the scarcity of understanding, scarcity of love, maybe forgiveness. So whatever we have not, those are the moments of tests in our family. Especially in the family life, you might have gone through hardships because of this. They are only the moments of tests. So not to dwindle, but to trust in God and God's providence. Those are the moments. Moments where we can rely totally on divine providence. So without prayer, without God, we cannot do such moments. We cannot overcome, face those challenges. And finally, those are the moments of great blessing. So if we go through with the faith and trust, certainly we experience those are the moments of great blessings in our life. So as we are celebrating this Holy Eucharist, we ask the Lord, as we heard in the second reading, so that He is the one who has given Himself to us. So let Him teach us from His example, so how we can live for one another and for God, offering ourselves generously, so whatever way possible in our life, for God and for one another. May God bless you.